Welcome to the regular open meeting of Vesuvius Town Council, Monday, April the 15th, 2019 at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. So first off, we'll look at the adoption of some minutes, the Committee of the Whole minutes of April the 1st, the regular open minutes of April the 1st, and the public hearing minutes of April the 1st. So could we have a thank you, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you. Business arising from prior minutes? There's none. Thank you. Introduction of late items. Councillor Harvey.
Yes, I'd like to propose we add at the end of this section on business to discuss the funding support for cactus jalopies.
Do we need a seconder for that? Do we take a vote on adding this to the... Yeah. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor King. So the suggestion is that we add the funding for cactus jalopies as a late item under business 6. I think all of us need to take a vote on that. Am I correct? Yep. Yes. Okay. So, council, all in favor of that? Sorry.
I have a question.
Question first. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'm wondering what the nature of the request is.
Be discussed if it gets on the agenda.
I beg your pardon?
Wouldn't it be discussed if it gets on the agenda?
Oh, it'd be nice. Well, no, we're voting to see if it gets on there first.
Yeah. That's what we're voting for, okay. But he was asking what is the nature of it before he votes, yes or no.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead.
So I want to discuss the manner in which additional funding came to pass, and I have a serious issue with it, and you guys all know what that is. So, all right, so this is the funding of the cactus jalopies. Is there anyone else who needs to speak to this? Mr. Emenko.
I just want to clarify to Council, if this is going to be an exploration of the actions of the CAO, that should be actually something that is a labor issue as opposed to the funding, the expenditure of funds, because it in fact is questioning the actions of the CAO.
Yes.
I don't agree that it's a labor issue. It's not a contract issue. It's just an action. It's got nothing to do with contract. It's about if there is any situation where there is the actions of the CEO are going to be questioned, that could lead to disciplinary action, then that needs to go into an in-camera discussion.
That's where I said this afternoon.
Okay. All right, so I would like to ask for the suggestion is that we add this to the business 6 of today's meeting. Could we have a vote, please? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Could we hear the motion, please? Yeah.
That the agenda of April 15th be adopted as amended as adding funding support for cactus jalopies as business item number 6.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for all in favor of this motion. Against. Thank you. That is not carried. So we will go back to having the agenda of this meeting approved, please. Could we have somebody move that the agenda as printed? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. First up, we have a delegation, and the delegation is, well, we have several actually, several people here for this reason, and this would be the 2019 Community Services Grant Check presentations. And I'm going to ask Councillor King and Councillor Bennett if they would please do that.
First of all, I'd just like to make a little comment.
Jim, you want to speak in the mic?
I really want to thank you and all the committee. Well, Mayor and Council actually wants to thank you and all committee for the work you do in this community to make it a better place to live. And hopefully this will help the town move forward with this little gifts. So anyhow, they're in order, not in alphabetical order, but they're in some type of order. The Soyuz Festival Society, could you please come up, please?
They're in a good order if I'm first.
Thanks very much. The Soyuz Elk Senior Citizens Society? Elk Society?
Not the Golden Billet.
At the Villa? Yeah, Golden Villa, sorry. It's in behind the...
Thank you.
The Soyuz Ambassadors Committee? Thanks. The Soyuz Fireworks Committee? The Soyuz Elks Lodge, 436.
Good thing you're sitting in the front row, Karen.
International Curling Club Society?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
The Soyuz Lake Water Quality?
Thank you.
The Soyuz Senior Center Association?
Who's that?
Thank you very much. Canadian Mental Health Association? The Soyuz Pickleball Club? Thank you. Thank you. South Okanagan Integrated Community Services Society? That's the real name. Yeah. Thanks, Teresa. Sun Bowl Figure Skating Club? The Soyuz Senior Ball Club? Wearing a different hat today. The Soyuz Minor Baseball Association? Thank you. The Soyuz Golf Club? Accessibility Okanagan Society? I'll just take that. School After School Society? Spirit of the Game Society? The Soyuz and District Arts Council?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Desert Valley Hospice Society? Thank you. And the Soyuz Museum Society? And again, words can't say enough for what you folks do to for our community. Thank you.
Thank you to all of, to everyone here. Mr. Zackel, did you have something to add?
In the past, has council not done a group photo?
Yes, we have, but I'm wondering if anybody's here with a camera. Roy, do you have a camera?
Someone's
No.
got a phone,
Is-
though.
Is there?
Gerald
Oh,
will
good.
take a
Thank
phone
you very
camera,
much.
a phone picture.
So what we would really like is for all of you to come outside, and we'll just get a group photo, and we'll make sure that we send it to the Soyuz Times or Roy. Send it to Roy. Just want to say thank you very much for all of the hard work. You know how much we appreciate volunteers in this community and people that work hard to make this a better place, a wonderful place to live. So thank you very much. So if we could all just council, and including our water councillors.
Not going to happen.
He doesn't get paid enough.
We'll just go outside and Gerald will take a picture.
And see what that does.
Unpause?
Yeah.
It's an empty room all of a sudden.
Okay, we all set? All right, so we're going to go to water matters, and we have Water Districts 8 and 9 financial accounts to report on expenditures from water accounts payable for water councillors and council approval. And Water District cash requirements to April the 15th are in the amount of $14,745.83. Thank you very much. Mr. Van Vienen, as that's what it says on your sign in front of you. Councillor Morera.
I want her paycheck.
You go up and talk to her then. Are you seconding that? Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor? Thank you. And next is the Okanagan Basin Water Board. Let me just find it in here. Made a few notes. So we had a meeting on April the 4th, as you can see there. One of the concerns, of course, is the Eurasian milfoil and its relationship to native mussels, the Rocky Mountain Ridge mussels. So it's a bit of a tricky thing at the moment. We have written letters to the provincial government asking, because all of a sudden they have decided that that they haven't seen as many Rocky Mountain Ridge mussels around. We're wondering about how that's going to influence the milfoil, the rototiller that happens to be out on Osoyoos Lake right now. So my assumption is that some of the places they'll have to be very careful about rototilling until we get some more information from the government. But weed control, milfoil and weed control is extremely important because it not only helps to keep water quality in check, a healthy aquatic ecosystem, and public enjoyment of beaches. So we're certainly hoping that we can find a resolution to this. The board has approved 17 projects through their water grants, $318,846. And this year, there was a slightly different version. It had to be kind of a water grant that had consequences or applied to the entire valley. So they looked at whether it was valley-wide benefit, and it wasn't just given out to 3 regional districts. It was given out on a slightly different criteria, which, because we're one valley, one water, so we've decided to do it that way. And Be a Climate Hero, the bottom one, it's a water-wise challenge, and it's for mainly for kids. And so there's posters around town, and I took a couple of them into the elementary school the other day because there's a few classes that are dealing with water issues. So those are the things that came up at our monthly meeting. So do we need to have we need to have it received, please, Councillor King. Then Councillor Rhodes. Thank you. All in favor. Bylaws. This would be Mr. Zackel, the East Lakeshore Drive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So before Council, Bylaws 1182.07 and 1183.07, East Lakeshore Drive Sewer and Water Parcel Taxes for adoption. So the East Lakeshore Sewer Parcel Tax Bylaw 1182 and East Lakeshore Water Parcel Tax Bylaw 1183 were established for a specified area on Lakeshore Drive in 2002. These bylaws were created to establish a method of collection of parcel taxes for the water and sewer infrastructure installed in 2003. Collection of the parcel taxes for this specified area began in 2004 and will be fully paid for in 2023. These bylaw amendments received first 3 readings at the regular open meeting of Council on April 1st, 2019. Bylaws 1182.07, East Lakeshore Drive Sewer System Parcel Tax Bylaw, and 1183.07, East Lakeshore Drive Water System Parcel Tax Bylaw have been brought forward due to the debt portion being refinanced with MFA under Debt Issue 80 with an interest rate of 2.85%. The bylaw amendments reflect the refinanced amount required for payment of the debt as referenced below. So under the East Lakeshore Drive water parcels, it was $106.73 per taxable acre before, and it's now $115.52. Under East Lakeshore Drive sewer parcel tax bylaw, the rate was $190.27 per acre, which is now $205.88. So under community, this ensures the amount due for the debt portion of the Southeast Sector Water and Sewer Project are collected from the benefiting property owners. Under budget, no changes to the financial plan are required. Significant dates, bylaw needs to be adopted no later than May 15th, 2019. And options before council to adopt East Lakeshore Drive Sewer System Parcel Tax Bylaw 1182.07 to 2019. Option 2 to adopt East Lakeshore Drive Water Parcel Tax Bylaw 1183.07 2019. Option 3 to not make any changes to the existing bylaws. The recommendations before council is 2 separate resolutions are required. The property owners from the specified area pay for this debt servicing. Approving these bylaw amendments allows the municipality to collect the correct amount back from them. So staff's recommendation is option number 1 and then option number 2.
Good. Thank you very much. And we did give first 3 readings to this in April, or the last meeting, so it's just a matter of adopting these. We need one to deal with the sewer parcel tax first. Is there Councillor Bennett moving option 1? Is there somebody to second it? Councillor King, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Someone move the water parcel. Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, seconder. Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you very much. And that's that one. So, Osoyoos tax rate bylaw. Mr. Zackel again.
Thank you. So before council is a 2019 Osoyoos tax rates bylaw. This is to update the tax rates bylaw for 2019 with the due date of being July 2nd. The 2019 Osoyoos tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan and includes a 2.93% increase in property taxes. This is an increase of $74,094 in tax-based revenue, and new construction property taxation is $27,146. These numbers have been discussed thoroughly with council and are included in the town's 5-year financial plan bylaw that was adopted earlier this year. The budget for municipal portions of the tax requisitions are under municipal, $2,602,915. Under general debt, $34,800. Under fire protection, $305,210. Under fire hall debt, $188,503. And under policing, $953,450. The town of Osoyoos is also responsible for collecting and remitting taxes for other taxing authorities that including the following: the school, which we don't have those numbers yet. We should receive them on May 10th. Hospital, $524,154. Regional District, $839,268. Okanagan Regional Library is $254,205. BC Assessment Authority, $82,188, and Municipal Finance Authority, $400. The average assessed value for a single-family residence is $429,687, and that average single-family residence would pay $972.39 in municipal taxes. Average assessed value for business and other Class 6 is their average is $288,888. And that average business would pay $1,084.81 towards their municipal portion of taxes. The tax rates bylaw needs to be adopted by May 15th as per section 197.1 of the Community Charter. Under Implications Community, continued operation and enhancement of the municipality. Under Budget, the Osoyoos tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan bylaw. Significant dates, tax rate bylaw needs to be adopted no later than May 15th. Sustainability, working to ensure maintaining levels of services for the community and financial sustainability of the town. Options before council to give first 3 readings to Osoyoos tax rates bylaw 1351 2019. Option 2 to make further changes and bring forward to council. And a recommendation before council is option number 1. The tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan bylaw and needs to be adopted no later than May 15th as legislated by the Community Charter.
Thank you, Mr. Zackel. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCardoff. I'll move the staff recommended option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Bennett, seconding that. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is the zoning amendment bylaw. Ms. McKay.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So this report is in consideration of 3rd reading for property located at 7603 Spartan Drive, the Owl Pub, and if approved, The bylaw would allow, if the bylaw were approved, it would allow for a site-specific retail cannabis store to be located at the subject property, and of course that would be subject to provincial approvals. So the applicant is proposing to open a retail cannabis store in a portion of the building located at 7603 Spartan Drive, the home of the Owl Pub and Liquor Store, where the portion of the building proposed for a retail cannabis store is indicated in red on the aerial photo that is in your report. Pedestrian access to the retail store would be via the parking lot located on the north side of the property. Parking area provides for a delivery area for the Owl Pub and Liquor Store. And again, the photo in your package depicts the area of the building proposed for use as a retail cannabis store. So a zoning bylaw, a text amendment is required as retail cannabis sales is not a permitted use within the town of Vesuvius without first applying for site-specific rezoning. With respect to the official community plan, as per section 10.4 of the OCP has been fortunate to maintain its traditional downtown Main Street, which is a major attraction for residents and tourists alike. Accordingly, the downtown has its own unique OCP land use designation and specific zoning. The OCP policies promote an attractive and dynamic mix of complementary downtown uses and encourage a variety of businesses to locate in the downtown. So the subject property provides for limited on-site parking as indicated in the photo adjacent to the proposed retail store. However, the primary function of this area is for use as a loading dock for both the pub and the liquor store. The space also serves as a garbage and recycling area. The area is not therefore suitable for customer parking for the cannabis store. There are a few spaces on the subject property adjacent to Spartan Drive which provide for temporary parking for customers of the liquor store. So with respect to the underbuilding parking, which is accessible via Park Place, a form and character development permit was issued for the existing pub and liquor store in 1995. Approval of the development was subject to the provision of adequate parking for the proposed use. Parking was provided under the pub with access from Park Place. Over the years, there's been repeated problems with vagrants loitering in the parking area. In response to concerns raised, the parking area was closed. Oops, got myself confused here. So, planning staff have advised the property owner that, regardless of the outcome of the current rezoning proposal, the parking area must be reopened in order to comply with the previously issued permits. Property owners have indicated that they will explore solutions to the previous concerns, which may include the installation of cameras and/or parking lot attendees. Once the underbuilding parking area is reopened, it is likely that the street parking on Spartan Drive will decrease. So a public hearing was held on February 19, 2019, and the manager of the Owl Liquor Store spoke to the proposal, as he will also be responsible for managing the cannabis retail outlet. He provided council with information about his history with working in the liquor retail field. One member of the public spoke against the proposal, stating that the site was not appropriate due to the location at the rear of the building. A second member of the public spoke against this location, as it also serves as a loading area for the pub and liquor store. He also spoke against the sale of cannabis and cannabis in use in general. So then, at the March 18th regular meeting, council reviewed the proposal in conjunction with the concerns raised at the public hearing and resolved to place the bylaw on hold until staff had consulted with the applicant. Council asked that the applicant address the following concerns. One, plans to provide open the underbuilding parking in order to comply with the existing development permit. Number two, addressing the safe pedestrian access to the cannabis retail store. Number three, concerns related to the delivery trucks blocking the sidewalk. And then you'll note in the box inside of your report, that information was taken directly from the applicant. That's via an email. That's exactly what they provided, so I just inserted it as written. So again, with respect to the parking garage, they're suggesting that the garage will be open from 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. There'll be a locked gate with signage showing the hours of use. Vehicles in the park gate after the gate is locked at 2 a.m. won't have access to their vehicle until 11 a.m. when the gate is open for the day's business. They propose to improve the lighting in the parkade, and which will help with navigation as well as deterrent for vagrants. They're suggesting security cameras will be installed in the parkade with a monitor in the pub for the bartender to see. With respect to the pedestrian access, painted crosswalk alongside the liquor store building will show the pathway to the cannabis store. When delivery trucks arrive, it will be guided into the delivery area, ensuring that the trucks are not backing up when customers might be in the area. With respect to the delivery trucks blocking the sidewalk, they're proposing that the delivery trucks can be guided back far enough so as not to restrict the pedestrians on the public sidewalk. So the implications for this particular proposal with respect to the community: to provide an attractive mix of complementary commercial uses to benefit the community and provide service year-round, and support continued commercial growth within a limited land base. Organizationally, should the bylaw receive third reading, it would then be placed on hold until such time as the town is notified by the province that the applicant's been successful in obtaining the necessary approvals from the province. There's no impacts to the budget associated with this report. Again, significant dates that will remain pending until provincial approval process is complete. With respect to sustainability, town policy for commercial growth includes avoiding sprawling development. Now there's 3 options before council. Option 1 is that council gives third reading to zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.115. Option 2, council gives third reading to zoning amendment bylaw number 1085 and advises that applicant that prior to consideration of final adoption, the applicant will be required to provide detailed site plans formalizing the proposal to address the concerns raised by council on March 18th and any other conditions that may be advised by the province as part of the provincial licensing process. Or option 3, council abandons the bylaw. And staff are recommending that council consider option number 2, which is that council gives third reading but advises the applicant that more detailed information is required in order to proceed to fourth reading, and that may include site plans and perhaps detailed plans with respect to the monitoring program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor King?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I just get clarity on number 1 in your box? If per se this motion wasn't passed, would they be still sending a letter, open up that garage again?
That's correct. And just thank you, Councillor King, through the chair. Just to confirm, I did speak to the applicant about that, and they assured me that they will be proceeding with opening the garage regardless of the results of this rezoning proposal.
Okay.
Do we have a date that might happen?
I've advised them that it would be nice before May 24th long weekend.
Yes, that seems to be the important date because that's when we get a lot more people. Councillor Bennett.
I would move option number 2.
Okay. Is there a seconder for option number 2?
I'll second.
Okay. CJ has seconded that. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. I don't know what to say. I'm struggling a little bit with this. Again, I don't think we got all the information, and I understand the rationale for asking for it. Was there any indication about the restricted hours on the parking lot, why it would be that way?
Through the chair, thank you, Councillor Rhodes. Conceivably, they wouldn't want to keep the parking lot, I guess, open all night. And they only want to monitor the parking lot while their business is open, I guess. That's the information I have to date.
I think Councillor Harvey first. Yep.
Yeah, I still have a serious concern with the safety of potential customers going in and out. I don't think it's really addressed here. The manager is not on site during the day. It's young girls out of high school, generally, anytime I've gone in there, which is very infrequent. And so I just don't see it. I have a huge concern for the safety of the potential customers going in and out, and I'm inclined to, not support it going forward.
Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess I need a clarity here. If we kind of pass this third reading, chances are he's going to submit to the province, and if the province happens to say yes, we're pretty obligated to go forward?
Again, through...
How does that go ahead? Can you explain how that works?
Sorry, Mary McCordoff. Yeah. Thank you, through the chair. Councillor King, no, actually, you're not obligated to move forward. You can pass third reading and request additional information, and if that still doesn't meet your requirements, then you don't have to pass the bylaw. I turn to the CEO for clarity.
Well, the province, there would have to be some, I guess, discussion between the administration and the province, because my sense is the province requires the zoning be completed, and they probably could provide an approval subject to zoning, and is that the way the process works?
So, actually, I can provide. Thank you. So, just again, through the chair, just so everyone's clear, the process. Even the province is the one that tells me if they're a little bit unclear on it at their end at this point, right? Mm-hmm. So, what they're doing is they would conceivably send back to us notification that the applicant has passed the fit and proper portion of the application process, and then I would bring it back to Mayor and Council and say, okay. Now, they've passed, the province has advised us that they passed the fit and proper. They haven't been given the license, but they're ready to issue it, subject to us giving approval. So conceivably, in this particular case, we could go to that third reading. They could go to the province, which is an expensive process. And if we did receive back the fit and proper notification, council still has the option to not pass it, in which case we would say, well, we've decided that they still haven't addressed the concerns. And in some cases, it looks to me that some of those concerns could be addressed. Some of them, there's no possible way there is a mixed, as Councillor Harvey points out, there is a shared access being proposed between pedestrians and the trucks.
Can I say something first, or you? Okay. No. You had your hand up, but No. So my concern is that when a delivery truck arrives, it will be guided into the delivery area, and that's in number 2 and number 3. And I don't. It's like putting in a rule and regulation and saying, well, the bylaw will look after that, and they can't be everywhere, and that concerns me. I agree with Councillor Harvey that the safety of people on the sidewalk and in that area is paramount, and I'm really question the need for any type of business to be in there. I really worry about that, and I think we could be in for real problems if because I don't see that there's going to be somebody standing there waiting for a truck to come in and be the police out there. That just doesn't make sense to me. So I could, I guess, support number 2, but I could also support that we abandon the bylaw. So I'm all right with both. Councillor Rhodes.
Thanks again, Mayor McCorduff. When the applicant came to the meeting some time ago, I was quite impressed with his presentation. Clearly, to me, this seems like the right people at the wrong location right now. And one of I'm making an assumption, but I'd like you to clear it up. When the province does their due diligence on their portion of this, they would never look at our stuff, would they? They would never be involved or have the same concerns as us. They would rely on us to make that decision. Am I correct in assuming that?
Thank you again through the chair. Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. Actually, I provide a pretty detailed overview for them of this series of events, including the information provided to them in the report. So I send my actual reports, the minutes of the meetings, the minutes of the public hearing to them, and I actually identify specifically the concerns that were raised by members of the public or members of council, and then they take all of that into consideration when they consider issuance of the license.
Do they also look at this box? Were you asking about that? The information in there? Do you send that to them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If I could, but that would be a small part of their scrutiny, though, wouldn't it?
Again, through the chair, when we decided to go this route by doing site-specific zoning, we took this on as being our consultation process. So it would, I think, it would weigh quite heavily with them because it is considered the consultation process as required by the province.
I guess my concern is if we provide third reading, they then pay the money to go to the province, and the chances of the province okaying this because we've gone to third reading are much greater. Am I correct? Will they look at that very carefully?
The province won't actually approve it at third reading. All they'll do is they'll tell me that the applicant has passed the fit and proper portion of the application process.
Can you explain what that is, the fit and proper?
So basically, that's where they do all the background investigation on the finances, who will be involved in the operation, that kind of end of things.
So they don't look at the site specifically?
Yes, that's part of it.
That's part of it as well?
Yes.
I don't know. Seems to me that if this is not a good thing, only from my point of view, but that it seems like at some point somebody's going to say to them, you have to do this or else, and the or else part, it is going to cost them a ton of money to begin with, even to get to Victoria, isn't it? Do they not have to put out a fair amount of money if we pass third reading and then that goes to, it's sent to the province?
It's a $7,500 application fee, just for the original application fee to the province. Then there's also maybe a requirement to provide additional information and other fees as they relate to police checks, etc.
Okay. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't think it's really our job to try to save him money. He can look at the minutes of what has been discussed and whether this gets passed or not, and then he can make a business decision whether he wants to go forward.
I just have my first nickel, and that's why I look at money.
I mean, there's a motion on the floor.
Yes, I totally agree. Any other concerns, or anybody else like to speak to this? So the motion, could you read? You don't have to read the whole motion. It's motion number 2.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes, it is.
So, well, it's 4 lines, so we've got it. I think we can all read it. We're okay with that. So it's been moved and seconded that we go with option 2. All in favor? Against? So that has failed. So is there somebody who would like to make another motion? Councillor Carby.
Yeah, I would move option 3 that we abandon the application.
Is there a seconder for that? I'll second for that one. Any discussion on this? Councillor Rhodes.
For the third time, thank you, Member Kordoff. So abandoning it means it's over. It's finished. Is that
That's correct.
Yeah. And do they have any options after that?
Through the chair, is my understanding that they would have to wait 1 year to bring this proposal back under the charter. Is that correct? Turn to the CEO.
Yes, well, is it 1 year or 6 months? Because when a bylaw is abandoned, they can't revisit it until that whatever that period of time is identified in the community charter.
I think it's 1 month or 1 year, and they have the only way it could be brought forward is with the mayor's request. Before that 1 year's up.
A short period of time to request that 1 month.
Yes,
30 days.
unless the mayor's process or council, council can
Right.
as a whole can bring it back as well, not only the mayor.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, so we are now going to consider the vote on the option, which is that council abandons the bylaw. Option number 3. All in favor? Against? Okay, so a bylaw will be abandoned. And so that does give him an option. If he
can move
does something,
location.
he can look at it again in the future. Okay, thank you very much. That was a tricky one that we have had to deal with. I understand Mr. MacArthur is not here for the next one, And would you like to tell us what happened to poor Mr. MacArthur, please, Ms. McKay?
Well, thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Hi, Dawn. Dawn had a little accident last week at the baseball field and ferociously running to first and unfortunately tagged out at the last second. Got to get the drama in there somewhere for the poor guy. And he tripped and got that momentum going so fast he had a little spill and he actually broke his collarbone. So, yeah.
And I know that he's being well looked after, and he will be back with us very soon. I did write an email to him and suggest he take up yoga instead of baseball. However, so I'm assuming then that you are going to talk to this business license amendment bylaw?
That is correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is in regards to the business license bylaw amendment for street food vendors. At the March 18, 2019 council meeting, council gave first, second, and third readings to business license amendment bylaw number 1045.35, which proposes to revise Schedule D, which is the map and associated legend of the business license bylaw. So council recently approved the revision of the street food vendor selection and approval policy. The associated business license bylaw Schedule D also requires amendment for clarity. The proposed changes include revising the legends text and park list and updating the map's numbering of parks to correspond with the revised legend. The rationale for the recommendation is it's just to provide further clarity. So the implications for the community prospective food vendors will understand in which municipal park food vendors are permitted. Organizationally, staff have made the necessary amendments to the business license bylaw. No costs are associated with this report. With respect to significant dates, notice of the amendment bylaw was been given in accordance with the Local Government Act and the Community Charter by way of posting on the notice board on the 8th day of February and publication in Serious Times on the 4th day of February and the 11th day of April. With respect to sustainability, food vendors will create vibrancy, which will aid in the town's economic sustainability. Options before council. Option 1, that council adopts business license bylaw amendment number 1045.35. Option 2, council requests additional information and revisions to the bylaw. Option 3, council does not take any further action and the bylaw will then be abandoned. And staff are recommending option number 1, that council adopts the bylaw.
Thank you. Anybody like to look at this one? Yes. Oh. I can ask if anyone would like. Is there anyone in the audience? Roy, are you planning to speak to this? Okay, so there is no one here to speak to this bylaw. So, what's your pleasure, Council? Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'll move the staff recommended option number 1.
Yeah, second.
Thank you. Can I ask, I know that this has gone in the paper, when might people, if they see this, they can apply to open up one of these immediately?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'm thrilled that you asked. As you can see, I'm beaming over here. We've had several inquiries, and it looks like we have an Thai ice cream truck wanting to come to town, which I don't know what that means, but sounds delicious. A mini donut guy coming to town, and possibly a Portuguese buns and pulled pork type of unit wanting to locate here. And those three are very serious. We have several other inquiries, but we're actually working on those actual proposals right now. And 2 of them look like they're going to be in place very, very quickly, possibly before the May long weekend.
So if they are food trucks, can they change location if they want to?
No. Once they've selected a location, that location has been identified for them and for their use.
Okay. And do they then, sorry to keep asking, is if there's several locations, do they sort of come in there first up and they say, this is the one I want?
Yeah, it's a first come, first served process.
Thank you. All right, so it's been moved and seconded that we go with option 1. All in favor? Thank you very much. You're going to get right on that, are you, before you leave to head south?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, next is the, is this you again?
Thank you for your support.
Let me find it on
Yes,
here. I'm sure
thank
it's
you,
you.
Mayor
Zoning
McCullough.
Amendment Bylaw, Miss McKay.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So this report is consideration of third reading for zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.118, which is proposing to locate cannabis retail outlet at units 1 and 2, 9143 Main Street. Again, you're familiar with the provincial licensing process, so I won't go into detail there. With respect to the site, the applicant is proposing to open a retail cannabis store at the Gateway Square Shopping Center. That is beside the Dollar Store with more business. With respect to the text amendment, it is required because retail cannabis sales is not a permitted use within the town of Esuias. As per section 5.71 of the OCP, commercial growth will continue to be focused excuse me, on the Main Street / Highway 3 corridor and its intersection with Highway 97. The proposed development would be utilizing spaces that have yet to be occupied since the Gateway Shopping Center was opened. The proposed use of this property for retail cannabis stores is considered to be in conformance with the official community plan. And then at their September 4th meeting, Council adopted the policy PLA-019, which is the cannabis retail sales site-specific rezoning considerations. The intent of the policy is to ensure that all rezoning proposals are reviewed based on the same criteria. Customer parking is available in the shopping center as it is for other commercial businesses. No other cannabis retail stores are currently proposed for this area at this time. A public hearing was held on April 1st, 2019. A representative for the Gateway Development Project spoke and provided council with information regarding their intent to be a good neighbor to existing businesses in the area. He stated that this new business will provide employment for 7 to 12 local people. One member of the public spoke in favor of the proposal. Staff rationale for recommendation is that staff is of the opinion that this location is suitable for the proposed use and will enable a new business to be established in the town. Again, providing attractive mix of complementary commercial uses benefiting the community and providing year-round service is of benefit to our community. Organizationally, again, should the amending bylaw receive third reading, it would then be placed on hold until such time as the town is notified by the province that the applicant has been successful in obtaining necessary approvals. The applicant will also need to comply with any additional requirements which may be required through the business license program, and a development permit for form and character may be required if changes other than minor are to be made to the exterior of the building. There's no impacts to the budget associated with this report. Again, this item will remain on hold pending the outcome of the provincial licensing process. And again, town policy for commercial growth includes avoiding sprawling development. Options before council are option 1, that council gives third reading to zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.118. Option 2, council defers third reading of the bylaw until a later date. Or option 3, council requests further revisions before proceeding. Or option 4, any other options council deems appropriate, and that could include abandoning the bylaw. And staff are recommending option number 1. Council gives third reading to the amending bylaw.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor King.
Yeah, I'll move option 1, give third reading.
Okay. Councillor Harvey seconding that. Is there any chat about this one? Okay, all in favor. Thank you. That's carried. Next is the mayor and council meeting report, and it was for me because I went to Kelowna to a workshop for the day on RCMP. Could someone please move this, that I get paid for this? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you. And now we have the Whibbit Park. Would that be you, Mr. Davis?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff made an application for a tenure over Crown land for the purposes of an aqua park at Gyro Park. The Ministry of Forests, Lands, Natural Resource Operations, and Rural Development requires that the town pass a resolution to acquire the land. This is the final step in the application process. As part of this process for the application, we are required to submit signed tenure documents to the aforementioned ministry along with payment and a council resolution for acquisition of the land. Council must agree to acquire the land for the term of 30 years, with the land being described as all that unsurveyed crown foreshore being part of the bed of Okanagan Lake and fronting on Block 530, Plan 2450, except Plan A1011, District Lot 2450S, Similkameen Division, Yale District, containing .4378 hectares, more or less, for the purposes of a commercial aqua park. The deadline for this documentation is set for April 29th. On or before this deadline, we will initiate a draft sublease with the proponent for the purposes of a commercial aqua park. Council has already passed a motion approving the foreshore and lake zoning bylaw amendment 129403. In terms of implications for the community, this park is a value-added amenity to Gyro Park and will be an added attraction for the entire community. Organizational, just preparation of documents and working with the proponent. C, budget. As per the previously discussed arrangements, the operators of the aqua park are responsible for the initial licensing fee of $28.1505, in addition to the first year fee of $2,681. The yearly fee will continue to be paid by the aqua park operators, in addition to the following fees to be collected by the town. In year 1, $9,000, year 2, $9,500, and year 3, $10,500. The sublease includes a clause that the operator has an option to renew the lease for an additional 3-year term at a rate of $10,500 per year. Significant dates: April 29th is the deadline to complete the final steps as part of the application. And sustainability: a Section 11 Water Sustainability Act change isn't required as long as the owner or operator works in accordance with Part 3 of the Water Sustainability Regulation. This ensures anchors do not get placed over native aquatic vegetation. If mussels of any kind are encountered, all operations must cease, and if lake water is used, all intakes must be screened to the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. In terms of options, option 1, council agrees to acquire the license for the term of 30 years from the province over the land described as all that unsurveyed crown foreshore being part of the bed of Okanagan Lake and fronting on Block 530, Plan 2450, except Plan A1011, District Lot 2450S, Similkameen Division, Yale District, containing .437 hectares, more or less, for the purposes of a commercial aqua park. Option number 2, for council not to acquire this land at this time. And staff is recommending option 1. If council passes a resolution to acquire this land for the 30-year term, staff will follow up with the remaining documentation for the application, in addition to finalizing the sublease with the aqua park operators.
Thank you. This has been going on for a while. 2 years, I bet, isn't it, since they
I
came?
think it's more, yeah.
Yeah. Can I just ask one question then, Jim? Right in front of the lawn bowling there, which shows on the map, it's a bit of a mess on the beach. Whose responsibility is it to clean that up? Is that ours, or would that be the applicant's?
As part of this, that would be whatever the lease area is identified in this lease, that would be under their authority.
It's hard to
And
tell.
if it's
from
not, it's within ours.
It's ours.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Councillor King?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this is a great initiative. I have kind of one, I guess, funny question. Who dives to the bottom of the lake to see if the anchor is going to land on the mussels or any type of vegetation?
I was going to answer that, but maybe I shouldn't.
Oh, you're volunteering?
No, I was going to volunteer council, but no. I guess
The rock and
Count how
Because
long
it's
it
just
takes.
noted here, so I'm just kind of inquisitive. How do we check the?
I know in terms of the Section 11, that was on part of the proponent, and they applied for that and made that application. So they're the ones that would have to follow up with some of those items.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can I just Thank you. Just
For clarity, so when we made application to the Crown for the foreshore lease, because we need to make application to the Crown, we had to include the proponent's proposal and also their request for the Section 11, and then the Crown made the decision that in this particular case it didn't require a Section 11 as long as they met those requirements when they install it. So their divers are going to go into the lake. They've already been in the lake. They went in the lake last year prior to us making application to make sure that that they could in fact anchor it there.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. I have an equally curious question. In the description describing the area, are we rebranding the name of our lake? Like, I don't understand the Okanagan Lake part of lake bed, or
I'm not 100% sure of your question.
well, it says being part of the bed of Okanagan Lake.
Option 1, it says Okanagan Lake.
That's to be the legal description.
Yeah, sorry, the legal description.
And I think that was provided by the province, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
it was,
Could-
but I would suggest.
Could we change that?
I recommend we do. Friendly amendment.
Can you check on that, please?
Yeah.
Because they do have a couple, I think, in Okanagan Lake. They've got one in
Yeah.
Penticton and one in Peachland, I think, don't they?
Yeah, that would make a profound difference if it.
Yeah.
It does make a profound difference.
I agree with you.
And I think it's referenced in 2 locations in the report as well.
Yeah, it is. It's in the options as well. It says the same thing. And on the overview.
We took that right off of the lease, or the provincial documentation, so we'll make that change and I'll follow up with the approving officer at the province. But I'm assuming it's a friendly amendment. CO? That's, okay. That we clarified as a soy slate?
Not
yeah.
Okanagan.
Yeah, I would say that the motion be passed, that subject to the legal being clarified.
Yeah.
Because everything else seems to be
Yeah.
correct. It would seem really odd that they would
Just put
have that in there with the correct block and plan numbers
Description,
and all
yeah.
that, yeah.
Good catch.
And the reason why I asked is hopefully it is Osoyoos Lake and not Okanagan Lake,
No.
because there's going to be a lot of confused people that have lived here for hundreds of years.
And if this passes, could you anticipate when we might be able to put on our life jackets and go out there?
I think they want to be in here end of June, middle.
Thank you. Yeah, they're planning to come to our community in June to look for staffing opportunities. They like to do a presentation at the high school.
Okay.
So they do want to be open up for Canada Day or prior to.
I'm hoping they're not going to open it up on Canada Day.
It's a prior to. They want to be open for Canada Day
We
weekend.
should go to the school
That
before
weekend,
June.
but am I correct that they are not open on Canada Day because
No, they'll be open on Canada Day.
they will be? They'll be running their business out there on Canada Day?
Why not?
Thought, no,
Yeah,
because we've got 10,000 people down there. I don't think,
No, the only stipulation was that the fireworks, that they had to ensure that that they guarded their apparatus during the July 1st fireworks.
you know,
They
what,
don't
we're going to have
operate-
ashes all over it. Look at the lawn bowling, what they have. Can somebody talk to them about that? Because I don't think it's a good idea to be out there that day.
They won't actually be open during the dark anyway, so I don't, like.
No, but if the ashes will fall on, and those are plastic. And my thinking is,
Ashes, hot ashes.
They're thick rubber. It's about this thick.
That's
And they've been aware of the location and the challenges with the
Their
location.
It's their operational issue.
Yeah.
so, Jim?
I have a question, sidebar. I think we have an agreement in place where they can sit to sell their passes to go on, and I believe in that document, it does say certain things when they can be open and can't be open in that document?
I think that was part of their proposal,
Yes.
and they would also, and that is something if that is an issue as it comes up, obviously they're going to sit down and discuss that with us.
Okay.
But, they would be now, in my opinion, part of that candidate day committee because they're going to be up and running. Well, they should, have a lot of notice ahead of time just so they know. And
So
if there
we'll
are
make
issues.
sure we invite them to that when we have a meeting of everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Should we be possibly reviewing that lease we have, just so we understand what it is? Or maybe you just send it out to us
Well,
to read?
I think Gerald will look at it.
And yes, and that lease is part of this. It is just a draft lease, so we can
So it hasn't
identify
come
that.
back to us yet.
No.
Well, the sublease agreement is part of your package.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought, and just for the new council, they might want to see that.
No.
It's part of the package
I
right
think
here.
we've already,
Yeah.
yeah. We've already looked at this, and I'm pretty sure we brought this up. I just want to make sure that they are aware when and they can't, see, they have a place where they set up the little building with
correct.
and that was not to be allowed because that's where the beer garden is.
That's
Just,
correct.
if I may, for clarity, this is for the water portion of the property only. It's not to deal with the lease, and I believe the Director of Community Services will be bringing that forward at a later date. But this needs to go back to the province by end of this
Oh,
month.
I see.
Or else
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
that's
I get
that's
that.
why we're here
Sorry.
today. Thank
So
you.
you'll be, Gerald, you'll be looking at how we deal with it on those days. Okay,
No,
fair
that's-
enough.
That's what I tried to say.
Okay, all right, so have we made a resolution? Has somebody made, okay, we have, so, no,
No, I,
nobody, we have
Yeah, we
not,
passed them. We passed.
no, I,
we've had too many motions today.
thank you.
Moved option 1, seconded, all in favor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you.
So now we have Mr. Dinwiddie. Do you require your tie and
I
polished
do.
shoes for this one?
Not this one.
Probably not.
Not this
Okay.
one, no.
This would be the temporary closure of Cottonwood Beach.
No.
No.
No? Have I
Repairs
skipped
to the
one?
wall. Repairs to the wall.
It probably makes more sense to do repairs, awarding the contract for repairing the wall first.
Okay,
But
sorry.
whichever one you like.
Got Whibbit, and then I've got, okay, this is different on one book and not the other. So we want a contract award for the repairs to Cottonwood Wall. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. In the spring of 2018, Osoyoos Lake encountered above-average lake levels that caused significant flooding throughout the town's lakeside locations. On May 1st of 2018, the combination of those floodwaters and repeated wave action impacted the Cottonwood Park area. The existing Allen Block retaining wall running adjacent to the lake's edge encountered erosion of the silts and sands behind as they were drawn out by the impact of the waves from the lake. As a result, the 4 wall sections are now of reverse batter, which means they lean outward. Concrete and asphalt walkways have sunken and the surrounding landscape areas have been compromised. The town of Osoyoos received a letter from Emergency Management BC, file number DFA 1819-03, on October 25th of 2018, stating that they were willing to fund $281,565 towards repairing the Cottonwood Park retaining walls. As an overview, True Consulting Limited has developed a repair plan which consists of the following. So repairs to pre-disaster condition is to dismantle and reconstruct the Allen block walls, reinstate steel handrails, remove, dispose, and reconstruct hard surfaces such as concrete and asphalt walkways, reinstate existing irrigation system that has been severed in multiple locations. The estimated total cost, not including GST, was $321,000. Repairs complete with improvements, so these will improve the stability of the wall so it doesn't happen in the future, would be wall stability improvements complete with geogrid, filter fabric and drain rock, storm sewer drainage system, riprap fabric and pit run at the toe of the wall, reinstate the landscaping, upgrade stamped asphalt with concrete. The estimated total cost for this would be $518,000. The Operational Services Department received 3 proposals to complete this project. The lowest bid from 0810450 BC Limited, or DBA Rocks and Blocks, is $181,601.40, or 35% less than the True Consulting estimate for this project. And there's a report from True Consulting attached for you to review. The implications for the community are improved safety and stability of the Cottonwood Park retaining wall and enhancements to a popular park in the community. Organizationally, the installation of the new retaining wall should result in decreased maintenance costs for the Operational Services Department. Budget-wise, the bid submitted by 0810450 BC Limited, DBA Rocks and Blocks, of $337,398.60, including taxes and contingency, is $180,601.40, or 35% below the approved capital budget for this project. And as stated earlier in this report, the town of Osoyoos will receive $281,565 from Emergency Management BC to assist in completing this project, as long as the work is completed before March 31st of 2020. Significant dates. In order to ensure that this project is completed this year, it is recommended the Town Council award this contract as soon as possible. Sustainability. The completion of the proposed improvements to the Cottonwood Park retaining wall should allow the wall to withstand any future flooding events in the area. The options before Town Council are: Town Council award the contract for Cottonwood Park retaining wall to 0810450 BC Limited, or DBA Rocks and Blocks, which is a local company, for $337,398.40, taxes and contingency sum included. Option number 2 is that Town Council award the contract for Cottonwood Park wall repairs to one of the other 2 bidders for this project. And option number 3 is that Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. And the recommendation of administration is that Council adopt option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. I'll move option number 1, the staff recommended option.
And Councillor Bennett seconding that, and I'm sure you'd like to speak to this. It's a local company.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you stole the words right out of my mouth. Just as a sidebar to them being a local company, I just wanted to take a couple of seconds and make a comment that this is not only a local company. When you award contracts like this, there is a lot of financial benefit that's kind of hidden behind the scenes as well. The staff of this company will participate in, our local economy by, eating in our restaurants and shopping in our stores, something that you likely would not get from any of the other applicants. So I'm very much speaking in favor of this motion, and hopefully we'll move in that direction. Yeah.
Good. And I think that the people in this company have all grown up here and gone to school here. So that's a really positive, and how nice that they came in under budget and that they were that we can award the contract to them. I think this is terrific. Everybody will be happy. So is there any other questions about this? All in favor? That's done. So does that mean they're going to start this afternoon if you
Nope.
get over to them? Okay.
No, that's the next report.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next one is, and I've got them mixed up, you see, in my, over on here. So they're one's before the other here. This would be the temporary closure of Cottonwood Beach?
Yes.
Is that what we're at now? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. So I won't bother going through the background part of it because I just kind of read the same thing in the first report. So as an overview, with Town Council's approval, the Operational Services Department will hire DB Rocks and Blocks to complete the proposed repairs to the Cottonwood Park retaining wall. Since the proposed repairs are in close proximity to Osoyoos Lake, the town is required to obtain from the BC Ministry of Forest Lands, Natural Resource Operations and Rural Development to proceed with the repair work. True Consulting Limited contacted the above-noted ministry in January of 2019 on behalf of the town of Osoyoos, but unfortunately we still have not received the necessary approval to proceed with this work. Rising lake levels have now made it necessary to postpone this project until Osoyoos lake levels have dropped in the autumn of 2019. So the proposed start date is now September 3rd, after the Labor Day long weekend. The stability of the Cottonwood Park retaining wall is a very real safety concern. Any future weather or wave events could cause the wall to fall over onto the beach area. In order to ensure the public safety, the Operational Services Department is requesting permission from Town Council to close public access to the Cottonwood Beach area from April 16, 2019 until the completion of the wall repairs, which is estimated to be October 31st of this year. Cottonwood Park, including the washrooms, will remain open during this time. The new park at the end of Cottonwood Drive will be open, complete with a public washroom this spring, and will provide public with access to Osoyoos Lake. The summary of the proposal is available to Town Council to deal with public access to the beach area near the repair work proposed for the Cottonwood Park retaining wall are as follows. Complete closure of the beach area, partial closure of the beach area, fence off only the area where the wall would fall if failure occurred. Since lake levels fluctuate, the amount of actual beach available to the public would be limited, and enforcement of the do not enter zone would be a difficult task. The option number 3 is construct temporary shoring to support the wall. This will incur additional costs with the installation and eventual removal of the shoring, and will also limit the amount of beach available to public access. So the implications for the community are temporary closure of one beach area during the summer season. Organizationally, there aren't really any. Budget-wise, the funds to perform these wall repairs have been approved in the 2019 capital budget. Significant dates. In order to ensure the safety of the public, it is recommended that Council approve this request as soon as possible. And sustainability, the completion of the proposed improvements to the Cottonwood Park retaining wall should allow the wall to withstand any future flooding events in the area. So the options before Council are: Town Council approve the Operational Services Department's request to close the Cottonwood Park beach area from April 16th to October 31st of 2019. Option number 2 is that Council approves one of the 2 other proposed options for dealing with public access to the Cottonwood Park beach area. And option number 3 is that Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. Administration recommends Town Council adopt option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Member Corduff. If I could ask a question first off. So we closed the beach down.
Yes.
Like you're requesting. No public access. What happens if we get the approvals in middle of May, for example?
Well, we still have to wait for the water levels to drop to the point so that we're not working in the water anymore. So we kind of have to wait till the lake levels drop to where they are in the fall. Even if we get approvals in May, that's great, but then the lake would be too high to actually do the work.
Well, maybe I should just clarify that. So the plan would be to close it until October 1st and then start work at that point.
No, the plan would be to close it we would close it tomorrow just to make sure that the wall didn't fall over over the summer. And then we would leave it closed until October 31st, which is when the project will be finished. We would start work preparing the wall September 3rd.
So if it's closed and there's no public access, why could it not be worked on when we get the approval?
Because the lake would probably be too high.
I was down there this morning. It's out quite a ways already.
It is, but the lake has been rising steadily, and usually it doesn't get to like the height that it's before it's the highest point until the end of May, beginning of June. And then after that, it starts going down. It depends how quickly the lake goes down. If the lake were to go down faster, than we anticipate, then we could try to start earlier.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that should be part of the option, because if it's going to be closed and there's no public access, there would be no reason not to work on it.
As long as the lake is low enough, yeah. As long as the lake levels are low enough so that we can actually not operate in the water.
Because one of the concerns that I have is most of the year the appearance is that it's not a very popular beach, but during our tour season, I mean
there's quite a few people
really
there.
Popular and used by a lot of people, both local people and businesses in the area and that kind of thing.
And the problem could be that what people like to do when they go to Cottonwood Park Beach is they like to sit in the shade of the wall, right? And that's the part that if it falls over, we don't want them to get hurt.
Yeah, I understand all of that part, yeah. Would temporary fencing be an option?
Well, that would be option number 2, is that we could partially block off the area. When the wall falls over, how far it would fall is where we would put the temporary fencing.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask, right beside the wall is the parking. There's the sidewalk and the parking. Is that an issue? I mean, people have been parking there all winter.
No, that area should be fine. That's it's just the area where the wall is and the top sidewalk where the benches are. That's kind of iffy. If the wall was to fall, then that area would fall as well. But the sidewalk should remain stable as well as the road.
Okay, because that would be difficult to monitor. And I'm thinking that where the wall or the park. The sidewalk there starts at the end of the parking to the other end. There's only angle parking where the angle parking is. So is the idea to put a fence on both ends there out into the water, or how are you going to prevent people from going onto the beach?
If you can imagine where Cottonwood Park the Cottonwood Park Road goes straight and then it makes the corner, there's kind of an access point
Yes.
at that point by the Poplar Motel. So
Where
we
the
would put
stairs are? Is it there's stairs
no, we
there?
would block off the stairs
Okay.
with barricades and temporary fencing, and then we'd put in that permanent fencing that you can buy in sections at that point where the Poplar Motel is, so that it blocks access from the Poplar Beach area, and then we block off the stairs.
So if the fencing would then go down sort of to the edge of the water?
Yeah, something
okay.
like that.
Thank you. Mr. Romanko.
So what we're looking for is just the council. It's a change in level of service, so we're looking for council's approval to close. That would give us the opportunity to assess the situation on an ongoing basis, and should things change, should we have a drought and the lake not go up, and we have all the appropriate permits and the companies available. That's part of it. This is a pretty major job. So telling this company that the work will happen in fall, I think will be of assistance to them. The other thing is that the plan is to, a lot of the work is going to be done from the top. So you're going to have equipment working on the street. And again, in our busy time of the year there, in May, June, it would not be a very positive experience for the Sage Pub and other users. So, because the intention is to actually replace all that old asphalt, stamped asphalt, with concrete, and that way, so that whole area is going to change.
So can I ask, April the 16th, I mean, it's cold out. I don't think anybody's going down to use the beach or go in the water. So the idea is to sort of get us prepared for the fact that we could have hot weather soon,
Well, I
and then that
think
beach would be used?
the idea is just to establish with the public that the area is closed, from day
get
one,
it.
sort of thing, so that they're not going down there expecting the beach to be open and it's not open.
Okay.
If we close it right away, then it'll already be closed for the season and they'll get used to it.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Harvey.
Yes, thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I have a concern with the change in service for the entire summer. And given that the proposal came in almost $200,000 out under budget, I think we should seriously consider the shoring of the wall as a possibility, but we don't have any information in terms of what that would cost.
No, because if we want to shore the wall, then that has to be designed by a structural engineer, and we don't have any cost estimates on that. Also, another way to do it without getting a structural engineer involved is if we were to, for example, pile earth up against the wall to the height of the wall and at a nice slope. That will hold the wall up, of course, and will ensure that it doesn't fall over. It will take away some of the beach area if we were to do it that way. So there's kind of two options on how to shore it.
Okay, I'm leaning towards shoring or fencing, options 2 or 3, but I don't think closing the beach is a reasonable way to go.
Actually, when I went down there and looked at it, and I know, Councillor Rhodes, you live right there, it's really not a very
Wide
lengthy
beach.
area.
Nope.
Was there not a business that was down there on that beach? Maybe not last year, the year before.
A couple of years ago.
Rental.
Yeah.
But they were further down by the washroom,
Washrooms,
by the
Okay.
stairs.
Okay. Yeah, and I totally understand. That's why we need to ask all these questions. Councillor Rhodes.
Okay, I'm going to stick my neck out here and make a motion with that wording. I kind of like the fencing combination with the dirt part of it to protect like both of them. I think if we can do that, shore the wall up, protect it if it does fall over with whatever earth material we put
Will your
in
lake
there.
wash the dirt away?
Well, maybe, but some, yeah. Like I said, and we can certainly explore the shoring option. That's not a problem. We can certainly do that. It will just add additional costs to this project because we hadn't planned on installing shoring and taking it away. But I can get a cost estimate from a structural engineer on what that would be and how they would do it.
Just for clarity, I'm not suggesting the shoring option. I'm making the motion based on the earth suggestion that you made.
Okay.
Yeah. And then temporary fencing around that. And I all of the statistics are pointing towards a drought this year. I'm well aware that that could change in a heartbeat, but I mean, even on the wettest of years, and even last year after the lake began to recede, there would be no possibility of the lake reaching that far up. I've never seen it. And
Unfortunately, just last year, was when the wave action really took a toll on that wall.
Action is what the
yes,
worst
I mean,
part is, yeah.
and it could be part of our maintenance over the summer as well, but I don't think it's an imminent threat or anything like that.
So, all right, do we have a motion on the floor yet?
I'm not sure. I was hoping that Rianne might be
Do we?
wordsmithing it.
Mrs. Hilson, do you have something on the?
I'm working.
Okay.
Okay, so the council approves the partial closure of the beach area and the construction of a temporary shoring with fill. Well, we could script it, but that basically you want to go to the option of using fill to
ensure the wall isn't
backfill and hold up
to protect
that particular area. We would probably use sand, and that way we wouldn't have.
Yes, I have a rather large pile of it in the yards. So.
We wouldn't have to worry about contaminants or that, because my sense is that we would have to do an environmental assessment on this particular action. But
So this is at the top of page 1 where it says summary of proposals, so it would be partial option number 2 there?
Yes.
Is that what you're thinking?
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
With a do not enter sign as well, you'd put signage or something
Yes.
up there? Okay. So that is your option, what your suggestion is? Is there somebody you seconding that? Okay. Anything else? Could we have a vote then? All in favor? Thank you very much. And you will look after getting it engineered and whatnot, or whatever needs to be done. Thank you very much. Now are we, I'm confused in here. We are now on to the annual meeting? No.
Contract for the main
The main sewer lifts, which is the whole reason that Mr. Dinwiddie arrived today dressed to the nines.
Absolutely.
Okay,
For
go
this much
ahead,
money, I'll
Mr.
wear a tie.
Dinwiddie.
Yes, thank you, Mayor McCordhoff. This lift station is the most important sewer lift station in town, collecting and pumping 95% of all raw sewage to the treatment facility located in the golf course area. The main lift station was constructed in 1978, and many of the structural and mechanical components of the station have reached or exceeded their service life. Also, an assessment undertaken by KWL Consultants in 2014 identified the main lift station as being capacity deficient and recommended that the station be replaced. It should be noted that during peak times of the summer of 2018, the existing main lift station was operating at capacity for extended periods of time, causing increased wear on equipment nearing the end of its service life. For an overview, the new main lift station reconstruction project will comprise the following: new low-lift sewage pumping station and cast-in-place concrete enclosure, rotary drum screens to remove non-biodegradable solids, high-lift pumps designed to pump screened sewage to the treatment facility, appurtenances including a standby generator and odor control system. There's an attached report from True Consulting with more detailed cost analysis of this project. As part of the contract negotiations, the construction of a new public washroom in the Legion Beach area was eliminated from this project's scope. Any surplus capital budget funding available after completion of the main sewage lift station could be utilized to build this washroom facility. Implications for the community: increased sewer pumping capacity, which will accommodate the community's needs for the next 40 years. Organizationally, new, more efficient pumps will reduce maintenance costs for the Operational Services Department. The budget. The approved capital budget of $5.5 million, with source of funding being operating surplus of $459,530, sewer reserves of $1,339,878, sewer development cost charges of $200,592, and borrowing of $3,500,000. The borrowing bylaw has received electoral assent and has been adopted. The 30-day quashing period has expired, and a request has been forwarded to the province for the certificate of approval. The negotiated the negotiated contract price with Cumming Construction Limited is $4,605,000. Engineering fees to date, $84,000. Fortis BC power relocation cost is $18,000, and the remaining capital budget is $793,000. In order to ensure this project is completed by the spring of 2020, it is recommended the Town Council award this contract as soon as possible. The new main sewage lift station this is for sustainability, will employ the most energy-efficient equipment available, reducing our current power demand. So the options before Council are: Town Council award the contract for the construction of the main sewage lift station to Cumming Construction Limited for $4,605,000, taxes and GST included. Option number 2 is that Town Council retender this project, and option number 3 is that Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. The recommendation of the administration is that Town Council adopt option number 1.
Thank you very much. So if this was adopted, would they start ASAP?
What they will do is they will begin purchasing the equipment that they need to put into the main sewage lift station, so they will place orders with pump manufacturers and stuff like that. They may do some exploratory work this summer just to see, for example, where the water table is in the area around where the main sewage lift station goes, but they probably wouldn't begin construction until after the September long weekend.
Until after?
September, the September long weekend, so after Labor Day.
I was kind of wondering about the use of that.
The park should be available for the summer. They
Okay.
shouldn't, like I said, it will have to talk with Cumming to make sure that what their plans are.
Yes.
Once the contract is awarded, we will find out their schedule more exactly. They may or may not do these test wells in the summer. They could wait until September.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Emenko?
Yes, I just wanted to take this opportunity to extend congratulations to Director Dinwoody and for True on this particular project. They went through an NRFP process that when they initially started working on this particular portion of the project, the costs were about $1 million more. And through this particular type of process, working with the companies, they were able to bring the costs down to this particular level. So there was something of a new experience for us using this particular process, but it proved to be very successful and assists in bringing down the costs.
Good. Well, thank you very much. That's much appreciated. As you know, we like to save money whenever possible, so we appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So on that, I'm just reading the report or portion of it, and I see that part of the negotiation to get the money down was to reduce the scope of the project somewhat. And it seems to me the particularly expensive item that we've taken out is the
fourth pump.
The fourth pump, which we might need in 2034.
Yeah.
So we're pushing that expense down the road.
Yes.
For a future council. So we're probably all going to be good on that front. But I just wanted to understand, and just so that it's not strictly a reduction in price. There's a reduction in scope that goes with it.
There is a reduction in scope, like I said, by removing the fourth pump. Like the fourth pump provides 100% redundancy. That's probably, we don't need a 100% redundancy. There will be a third pump, so that if one of the two pumps that are running most of the time dies, there will be something to take over. Like I said, it is, and we probably won't have capacity issues until the year 2034 or something like that. So we're pushing that costs into the future.
Okay.
But it is a very expensive item.
Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCord. I have a question along that line with the 40 years. Just so I can understand, is that 40 years at current use, or is there a growth built into that?
No, there was a growth factor put in. We assumed that, I believe True assumed the town to grow at about 2 or 3% every year for the next 40 years or something like that.
And we'd still be okay.
So at that, there was a growth factor put into the reports. We're assuming that the town grows at a steady pace for the next 40 years.
Is there a reason why we never went with 50? I thought that was kind of the target on these big projects.
Not that I know of, no.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have a motion on the floor, Mrs. Hilson? No. Councillor Rhodes?
I'll move the staff recommended option.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor King? Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow is right. We don't spend that kind of money often. Next is the date for the annual general meeting. Mrs. Hilson.
Section 98 of the Community Charter requires that municipalities prepare an annual report before June 30th of each year. Section 99 of the Community Charter requires that council must consider the annual report at a council meeting or other public meeting. The public has an opportunity to address council regarding the annual report. It is being suggested that the AGM be held the second meeting day of June, which would be June 17th, 2019. The meeting can be held on a day separate from the regular open meeting of council. However, it is convenient to hold on the same day. 1 hour is being suggested for the meeting to allow for a review of the annual report and for the public to address council. It is suggested that the AGM begin at 1 p.m. on June 17th and that the regular meeting be advertised to begin immediately following the AGM, which would meet the notice requirements. So implications to the community, it's an opportunity for the public to address council regarding the 2018 achievements. Organizationally, all directors are to be in attendance. Budget, none. Significant dates, requirements under the Community Charter to prepare the annual report and schedule the AGM before the end of June. Sustainability, none. And options before council are that the annual general meeting for the town of Vesuvius be held on Monday, June 17, 2019 at 1 p.m. in council chambers, and that the regular open meeting of council begin immediately following the AGM. Or number 2, that the annual general meeting be held on another date and time, and recommendation is staff are recommending option 1.
Thank you very much. Council, what would you like?
Yeah, I'll move option number 1.
We have it that we've done it that way before, and it's worked out quite well. Seconder? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, all in favor? Thank you. Next is the support for locum housing. Mr. Romanko.
So attached, please find a letter from the Interior Health requesting support for locum housing close to the South Okanagan General Hospital. In communications with the Regional District and the Town of Oliver, there is noted support by both other local governments to provide support for this project. Staff from the Town of Oliver have identified a property that is available for lease at $900 per month, which includes a weekly cleaning. This property is approximately 3 blocks from the hospital. The Town of Oliver will lease the property for 1 year and bill other partners. In terms of implications, the community requires doctors to staff the emergency ward at South Okanagan General Hospital, and the provision of housing will assist in providing locum services. Organizationally, no effect on staff. Budget the cost will be, and just as an update, when I wrote this report, it wasn't made public yet, but since then, both areas A and C of the Regional District and the Town of Oliver have come on side, so the funding will be $2,700. Our portion will be $2,700. The funding will come out of the community development portion of the economic development budget. Significant dates, the plan is to action the lease as soon as possible. So there are 3 options presented to council, the first being to pass a motion to fund the locum housing lease for a 1-year period, and I would just say for comfort's sake to make that $3,000, just in case there's some type of issues that may arise. Second, as council denies the request for locum housing support, and third, that council requests additional information, and administration is recommending option number 1.
Thank you very much. Part of the reason for having it, we could have suggested locum housing in Vesuvius as well, but what we're hoping is that a locum who comes to town would choose to work in the emergency department. Not all doctors do, but this would make it much easier for any doctor who happened to be here doing a locum to be able to work in emergency because they're close. So that's partly the reason. Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Madam Cardoff. I'll move the staff recommended option, but I need clarity on the amount. I think you said
I'm just asking for $3,000 for some type,
because the report says 36.
So
I know, but since then, I know we now know that the other communities have jumped in.
Okay.
So that would bring it.
Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so for 3,000, somebody seconding it. Thank you, Councillor Bennett. And did you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought I had understood when we had the joint meeting with Oliver and the discussion of the proposal was that there was also going to be recovery from the locals themselves that booked this apartment. Is that not true? That is, assuming no locum ever rents it between the four communities, we'd be on the hook for the whole amount, and that would be the budget amount. But I understood the locums themselves would be into a sublease or some such arrangement, and there would be recovery from them.
I guess we hadn't built that into the equation. It could be a number of different locums that come and go, and that's something we can have further discussions with the other partners. At this point in time, we're just trying to ensure that we have funding in place to make the project go. And should there be a nightly charge or a monthly charge, certainly that would potentially feed back maybe into an ongoing program of some sort that would be able to keep this particular opportunity going.
I think at the moment we've just done this and signed it for 1 year to see, and we were going to look at it again at the end of a year and decide, was it working? Would we be doing it again, or could we do something slightly different? So it's just, it was to get it rolling, to get it off the ground. Yes, yeah. Councillor or Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor Ricardo. I think that $900 a month to find anywhere to rent in the South Okanagan for the 2-bedroom place at a house that close to the hospital, we better jump at it because.
Yes, we agree. Fair enough.
Yeah. But I'll take your your information into consideration. We'll talk between the communities and potentially if there is a change, I'll bring back more information.
Okay.
Thank you. Because I'd always understood this to make housing available as opposed to free housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So the motion is to go with option number 1 to a maximum of $3,000. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next is the boundary expansion. Mr. Manko.
Thank you. In 2017 and 2018, requests for boundary expansion along Lakeshore Drive were approved by Council of the day. Due to a large amount of staff time to complete a boundary expansion, Council directed staff to seek to complete a public notice of the town's intention to complete a boundary expansion in an effort to seek out other interested areas. A petition of approximately 45 residents of the East Bench of the Regional District was received. A recent request has been received for the property along 87th Avenue. In the 2019 budget deliberations, administration requested additional funding for staff support to complete the East Bench boundary expansion. This request for additional staff was denied, and direction was provided not to pursue an East Bench boundary expansion. Administration has connected with the provincial government to seek clarity on the boundary expansion proposals that are currently before Council. This was needed due to the coterminous boundary requirements of the province when considering boundary expansions. The Lakeshore Drive boundary expansion request meets the province requirements. However, the 87th Avenue boundary expansion has some challenges. Administration is now prepared to initiate boundary expansion actions. The first action required is a resolution of Council approving the boundary expansion for the specific properties. Once this action is completed, administration will send letters to the affected properties informing them of the effects of boundary expansion on their taxes and seeking their approval of coming into the town boundary. The administration will be sending invitations to join the town to 4 properties listed below. That should be 6 properties listed below. Sorry about that. In the event that the 4 residential properties on the 87th Street don't accept the invitation to join the town, the administration is recommending that Council proceed with a boundary expansion request to the Minister that includes the 4 identified parcels. The rationale for this recommendation relates to the development of contiguous boundaries, the overall assessment of the services currently received by the town, and their ability to access town sewer services at a reduced rate. In terms of implications, the community benefits from additional assessment that is added to the tax base. Organizationally, this small boundary expansion is included in the current business plan and will be included in the administration's planned activities. No boundary impacts to carry, no budget impacts to carry out the boundary expansion. Significant dates, no deadline for completion is identified. However, all activities will require approximately 6 months to complete. Community sustainability is enhanced by additional tax base. So, Council, option 1, Council passes a motion to proceed with the boundary expansion for the following properties. There's actually 8 properties, and then 4 of them are the residential properties along 87th Street, and those properties may or may not come in the boundary expansion. The Council passes a resolution not to seek a boundary extension for the above parcels. And 3, that Council passes a motion that identifies specific parcels for a boundary extension from the list provided in option 1. The recommendation of the administration is option 1, including these parcels within the town boundary, will enable contiguous town boundaries as requested by the property owners or by the decision of the Minister of Municipal Affairs. So the 3 properties on Lakeshore Drive, we've had letters signed off that they're prepared to come into town, and they're just waiting to get into town boundaries. A recent letter identified the large property along 87th, and in discussions with the province, they're directing us to seek out the approval of the 4 residential properties along 87th to see if they will come in. In the event that those 4 properties don't come in, my sense is they're still prepared to proceed with the boundary expansion, because the coterminous boundary would be on the east end of that big property on 87th.
So can I ask the 2 properties on Lakeshore Drive, one of them is where the winery
That's right.
is, that's one?
Yes.
And the other one is the Hurl property next door to it?
That's right.
Okay.
There's 2 properties within there.
There's 2 properties there, that's what,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, just for clarification, so there was one letter from an 87th Street address requesting to come in, and this plan suggests inviting his or her neighbors?
That's right. To eliminate the missing tooth.
Right.
Type on 87th.
Okay. And you mentioned coterminous boundaries goes to the east side of that large property. That would be the gravel pit that we see going up 87th? Or
No,
which
no. The gravel pit is actually is on Brayburn.
Right.
It swings. Yeah. You can see where Brayburn. Yeah, it's tough.
Is it part of the green?
Yeah.
Is it the big green?
Yes, the green.
Okay.
Yeah, the yellow identifies the property that wants, the yellow lines identify
okay.
which property wants to come in. The green is the existing town properties.
Okay.
Okay. All right, any questions? Any more questions about that one then? So what is your pleasure then? What would you like to do? Somebody like to make a motion on this one? Options 1, 2, or 3?
I'll move option 1.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Councillor Bennett, thank you. So moved and seconded that we go with option 1. All in favor? Thank you. All right. So next we are at the no notice of motion. So we have the general net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts. And so the cash requirements to April the 15th, 2019, representing balances in the following funds in the amount of general cash, $701,964.15, and Sun Bowl cash requirements of $13,661.28, and those would be done by consensus, and net payroll accounts of $76,660.26, and that is for information. Thank you. And a building report. And I see that we have started a few buildings, a total for the month of $765,000. And month to date, our total to date is $878,000, which is slightly different than last year. Do you,
If I may,
Yes, go ahead.
just provide council an update. The new numbers now, as of this week, our current building numbers are 7.6 million. So as opposed to the 800, which was the month end. So.
Oh, how did we jump from one to the other?
Well, we've had permits approved for that. These permits didn't include the home builders.
Okay.
And also the expansion of the Super 8.
Oh, so that makes quite a difference then,
Yes.
doesn't it?
Yes.
Wow. So it looks like people are looking at single-family dwellings, retaining walls, and pools, so it must be summer. Okay, thank you very much. Do we need somebody?
we do.
Okay, could we please have a move that the report be received? Thank you, Councillor Bennett, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor. All right. Draft minutes of the West Bench Dog Park Committee. Councillor Rhodes, did you have anything to say about this?
So I actually reported about this at the last meeting. These are the actual formal minutes from the meeting and the report. So
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're still working on this, and you have another meeting coming up, or?
we have a meeting on Wednesday at 5 o'clock to kind of work on some of the fine details.
Good. Okay, any questions of Councillor Rhodes? All right, so we need to have somebody move that the report be received. Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. And we now have the CO report.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just some of the activities of the administration over the last couple of weeks. Starting first in community services, the volunteer appreciation event was held April 6th with approximately 175 people present. The adult mixed slow pitch league is in full swing. The spring programs are running with a few new offerings, and plans are underway for the Spirit of Osoyoos Community Barbecue on May 3rd at Gyro Park, and encouraging all the residents to come out and have members of council cook you up a hamburger and a hot dog and enjoy some live entertainment and celebrate community. The Sun Bowl Arena will be shut down for its annual maintenance starting May 6th, and the ospreys have returned and are settling into the nest, but it looks like there's a couple of young ones, and I understand that they're having nest building issues. So apparently it's causing quite a scene.
No geese in there?
Not this year.
Okay, good.
So corporate services, they have been busy in interviewing and filling positions. The corporate administrative support, the planning and development administrative support, and building services worker, and that was all facilitated through the retirement of Debbie Gagne. The following positions were posting and were being shortlisted, and an interview process included the bylaw enforcement supervisor and the senior accounting clerk. The annual report information is being collected and compiled, and the director and deputy corporate officer attended a webinar through Emergency Management BC on a new program which will be helpful in reporting and obtaining information during an emergency. The an unsightly property remedial action is also dealt with, and the deputy corporate officer attended a webinar on freedom of information. So planning and development, I provided you the updated statistics. Apparently they keep telling me we're very busy. They're very busy over there looking at various proposals. Although we haven't had that large number of single-family housing development as we did last year, there certainly is a lot of interest being expressed in a couple major developments. The staff are working with an applicant on the property of 5601 Lakeshore Drive for an RV park, and also the request for proposals for the OCP was posted on BC Bid and our website, and they have 3 food vendor proposals that they're working on. In Public Works, They've been sweeping the streets throughout the community. The environmental monitoring plan has been completed at Cottonwood Park for the retaining wall repair project. The bridge fountain has been turned on, and irrigation systems 8 and 9 will be operational April 15th, and all the washrooms, parks washrooms will be opened April 16th. The pavement markings are currently being repainted throughout the community, and the accessibility swing has been installed at the Kinsman Park. Trail maintenance is happening throughout the community, and the chevron delineators and self-wandering planters have been installed along Main Street curb bump outs. In terms of myself, let me just see what I did here someplace. Well, it must be on this page. So we've been reviewing applications for the fire chief position, and we've provided some shortlisting. I met with the Rural Fire Protection District and reviewed the next draft of the Rural Fire Bylaw, which will be going to their annual general meeting at the end of April. We've been involved in the interviews for bylaw enforcement. We had our annual staff business planning update last week, and I also attended the regional RCMP meeting. So that's my report for today.
Thank you very much. Could we have a motion, please, to receive the report? Councillor Bennett, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you. Okay, now on to councillors' reports. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Regrettably for myself, every one of the committees that I sit on and chair have been inactive for some time. We, other than the dog park, which I reported on at the last meeting, the Waterfront Steering Committee has been somewhat inactive. We're waiting for a legal decision to be made on that before we can move forward with it. And I was able to attend the regional district meeting, this past one 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. Regrettably, now one thing occurred that affected Osoyoos in any way, except some issues that were in camera, and of course I can't report on those. And everything that we dealt with at the meeting was affecting the rural portion of the regional district. So I'll pass it over to Councillor King. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Attended the mayor's prayer breakfast along with the mayor and a couple of our staff. The volunteer appreciation event this past Saturday. What an event to see all the volunteers in our community at that event. Attended the Community Safety and Crime Prevention meeting in Oliver along with the mayor. I think it's moving quite well. And also the Accessibility and Age-Friendly meeting just last week. And I want to make a note to Mayor and Council, you'll more likely be receiving a letter. Accessibility Day will be June 1st out here front, and they're hoping to line up wheelchairs, so Mayor and Council are willing to get them and take a little trip around town to see what it's like to wheel around in a wheelchair.
Okay. Well, we've been asking that for a while, so I guess that's a good thing. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be right along.
Councillor Bennett.
Well, April 1st, I attended the Oliver Osoyoos PCN primary care meeting, which is with the hospital group, and the mayor of Oliver was there, and 3 doctors from Oliver Osoyoos Penticton. Reza Tar was there from Desert Sun Counseling, Tier Health, various nursing staff, and administrators from the South Okanagan. Basically what they're trying to do is identify some of the gaps in current status of the primary care delivery system in the South Okanagan. Basically, it can be simple as a patient in an ambulance that all of a sudden ends up at the Penticton Hospital, and all of a sudden they're released and they're standing out on the street. They have no money and there's no bus service. All the way to somebody getting referred from the hospital to a specialist, say from a drug overdose. The goal of the committee is to meeting with other locations, the Kootenay Boundary, Salmon Arm, and other communities, and try to find the best case potential solutions to make the primary care system a lot better system. So it was quite interesting to see the doctors talk back and forth to each other how they can share services. Then I attended the volunteer appreciation, the museum open house. I went and watched Councillor King get elected to the South Okanagan Chamber of Commerce at the AGM. And then last one is Destination Soyuz, and basically the Airport Society part, we're still waiting for a report on the environment. The OIB, the First Nations, they're trying to work, they're not getting along right now with Destination Soyuz, and some of this part is, it looks like they're going to be trying to get their own 3% tax on their motels instead of going through Destination Soyuz. And of course, it came up about Cactus Jalopies, because they had a lot of problem with their budgeting too, and they're trying to get more funding, and they haven't provided receipts for the previous funding. So there's kind of a little, they're trying to work it out, but they've agreed that doesn't matter what happens, they're still going to 100% back it and promote it and keep it going towards making it a great event again. So that's it.
Good. Thank you very much. Councillor Harvey.
I attended the volunteer appreciation breakfast, but otherwise I'm like CJ on a bunch of committees that aren't very active in the last little while. I won't have a library meeting until May.
Want a couple more?
So no, I was hesitant to admit this, just watching you across the table, but
Okay, thank you. So when I look back at all of the things that I've been at for the last 2 weeks, I had quite a long list as well. So I did go to the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast along with Councillor King and directors Miss Van Vienen and Miss McKay, and that's always a very nice thing. I think it's been 10 years that we've been doing that. And I also went to the Primary Care Network team-based, I'm getting them all mixed up here. There was too many of them. The Safety and Crime Prevention Committee that in Oliver. Last week I was in Penticton when Minister Adrian Dix was there from the Minister, he's the Minister of Health, and not only did we have the grand opening of the Penticton Regional Hospital Tower on April the 5th, and it was very well attended by people that had been involved with fundraising and with planning, and it was a very nice event. But in the morning of that day, Minister Dix did made an announcement that they had agreed to the Primary Care Network, which I think we all kind of knew about. It's been in the works for quite a while. And that's really a team-based approach to healthcare, rather than just having a primary care doctor that you go through with everything. It would be counselors and pharmacists and doctors and nurse practitioners that would look at the case and sort of spread it and talk, sharing amongst each other. So that was announced. It is just for Penticton and Summerland at this point, with the thought that it would move down to Oliver Suyas and over into the Similkameen, Karamias, and Princeton. So they have not actually got the funding for it, but there is going to be a building in Penticton. The idea and what he announced was that there would be several more doctors hired, plus I think some pharmacists and some nurse practitioners. Nurse practitioners is it's a fairly new position that, and a few places do actually have them, and one of the nurse practitioners from Princeton spoke at the opening of the Penticton Tower, but they haven't trained enough of them yet to be able to provide them everywhere that they're needed, but they're definitely something that we'll see more of. And also the UBC Okanagan is doing some training in those areas and working with the physicians and Interior Health to try and kind of work together and bring everybody up to speed. So that was a very positive thing. The Penticton Regional Hospital had a committee where they were trying to raise funds, and I think they wanted, besides all of you that pay into the Okanagan Similkameen healthcare, where we paid 40%, all of us in the South Okanagan paid 40% of the hospital. Mr. Campy has donated millions to the hospital, which is why it's called the David E. Campy Tower. $4 million for a stationary, in-house, top-of-the-line MRI. Not a movable one. It stays in Penticton. It's the best one in Canada, it was pointed out. He's a very, very generous man. So that was that. I was also attended with the CAO, the Southeast District Mayors and CAOs RCMP meeting. I went up to Burrowing Owl last weekend because they were doing a green initiative. There was solar panels, quite a few people advertising solar energy, plus electric cars. I wasn't able to get in the morning session because we had the volunteer breakfast, but I did go up there for a while in the afternoon. And also just wanted to say that people are still concerned about water levels in the lake, and the info on the International Joint Commission, Lake Esui's Board of Control. We normally have meetings every 3 months. We have agreed to have them monthly now, just to make sure that we're keeping up to speed. We have not, the applicant, International Joint Commission, has not declared a drought in the South Okanagan yet, although there has been a drought declared down in the States, in the Metho Valley below us. But we are meeting again on the phone at the beginning of May, just after the river forecast comes out. So there's lots of people looking at all of the water issues and learning from past experience and trying to keep ahead of the game and deal with things as they come up. So that's where we are with there. Just understand that there's certainly not people like me, but scientists and Department of Ecology, engineers, and so on that are looking at this on a daily basis, including both dams. So those are all the things that I've been at. I just wanted to wish everybody a very happy Easter this weekend. So we have Good Friday on Friday. On Saturday, there are lots of activities. Easter extravaganza put on by the Esui's Festival Society. And one of the big things is, which I'm in charge of, is the Easter egg hunt down on the lower field. So I have some huge stuffed animals for people who win the contest. There's 24 of them. And there's 3,500 chocolate eggs that will be hidden, spread around the field. So once I do the megaphone, it takes about 5 minutes for everything to be picked up, and it takes us 2 hours to get ready. So then there's lots of other things outside here in the park, including the pancake breakfast put on by Rotary. And the fire department is doing hot dogs, I think, in front of the old fire hall. There's entertainment for kids. There's a bouncy castle. There's face painting. There's lots of activities. So it's a little warmer than last year, because last year I think it was at the end of March, and this is April 20th. So people come out and enjoy Easter extravaganza. It's our 25th anniversary for that. And that's all I have to say today. So we will have a motion to adjourn, please. Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you.